Hello and welcome to another edition of Know Your Schools on WISD TV. My name is Dale Caffey. My special guest today is Sam Sexton. He is the new principal at Waco High School. And Mr. Sexton, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get started on your challenges at Waco High for the coming year as you become the principal there for the first time, it's not the first time you've been at that building, though. In fact, you taught there quite a few years ago. If we can, let's talk about your career in education, because it's been quite long and impressive.
Well, I did teach in that building back when it was Richfield High School. That was 78, 79. That was my second year to teach. And of course, my kids went through it. I think Sally graduated in 2002 and Steve in 2004. But they went there as Waco High students, and I'm starting my 37th year of education.
How nostalgic was it for you to walk back into that building after being named the principal, and as you get ready for the new school year and going back there, because some of those hallways probably looked similar, but some have changed over the years?
Well, it does. Some of it's similar, but they've added some nice additions to it. For the growth, and I'd kind of forgotten how large it was. You know, it's huge hallways, wide hallways, but it was nice to be back.
Talk more then about your career, where it went to from Richfield.
Well, I actually started in Hubbard ISD in 1977, and then came back to Richfield. Eventually I found my way to La Vega, where I was a teacher and a coach. And in fact, this is my fourth school that I've been to 2 different times. But once I got into administration, I stayed 14 years in Hubbard ISD. And then followed a superintendent over to Hillsborough as an assistant principal. And then the last 6 years, I've been at La Vega.
Talk about the move from La Vega and maybe some of the impetus behind you wanting to come back to basically where it all started.
Well, I was actually considering retiring. I had put 36 years in. I was considering retiring, and actually went down to Austin to do the paperwork, but it just didn't seem right. You know, I wasn't excited. I wasn't happy. I didn't know if it was the end of an era or, you know, what am I going to do now? But someone told me, well, you're not through yet. You know, you're not done. You're not finished. And so then I get a call from Waco to see if I might be interested in this job. And of course, you know, dealing with Dr. Kane, and I dealt with Jerry Gibson and Chris Everett. They made me feel welcome and kind of got my juices going again. And I'm looking forward to the journey.
What ultimately was it that said, you know, I'm not through? I have another challenge.
Well, the phone call, I guess, just to see if I was interested, and I got to thinking of it, and you know, Waco High School is just, it's been there. I live 5 minutes away from it. I pass it just about every day, and it had just never entered my mind that you know, I'd be there as an administrator. And then I got thinking, why not? You know, why not? Someone has to do it. My kids enjoyed it when they went to school there. Most of my friends, their kids went to school there. And so it just got me thinking again. It got me excited all over again.
Of course, the new school year beginning soon as we're recording this interview. Have you had a chance to meet any of the students yet, or is that just something that hasn't been on the burner? You've been busy doing other things, obviously.
Well, we do have summer school going on, and I've tried to make my way into the cafeteria, you know, when they're eating lunch, just so they get to know me. It's funny because I had a little girl. I said, "Are you the new principal?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, you look mean in your picture." And so I don't want them to have that perception necessarily, but I've gotten out and met a few of them. But our main focus right now has been hiring staff, trying to get quality staff on board, and create a master schedule.
Okay, we're going to have to talk to those students at La Vega to see if you're really mean.
Well, I mean, I've been in so long now that some of my parents over there were my students the first time I was there, so you can talk to them too.
Very good. Talk about some of the things you had to do this summer in order to get ready for school, and obviously one of the main things a principal does is has to find a staff, because every year you have some turnover, as did Waco High this summer.
We did, and I've got a group of assistant principals that have come up and they've been working. They're not on contract right now, but they know that there's a job that's got to be done, and so we've been interviewing. In fact, I've started the last week in June, and we kind of got a plan together, and we've been interviewing and trying to hire people all that time, and we're still going at it. And then on top of that, you're trying to do a master schedule.
Right. Some of the areas that are tough to hire for Waco High and for any school district this time of year, and really any time, is that science and math area, particularly science, upper level science. Talk about the challenges that you're having right now trying to find those physics and chemistry teachers.
Well, we're looking for chemistry and physics. If anyone's out there, we're available. That's an area that's typically hard to find.
Yep.
And we try to hire people that have the composite science. That way we have more flexibility. They have more flexibility to move around. And then of course the math area is a hard area to find too. Right now we seem to be pretty stable in math. We're still looking for those science people.
You've been a principal and been at it for a long, long time. You know the hours, especially a high school principal puts in, because 4 o'clock rolls around, the students walk out the door. The day's not over for you or many of those teachers or administrators.
Well, that's when you can usually get some work done, when the kids are gone. But it's really not that bad. I enjoy the extracurricular activities that go on. I'm kind of used to it. I think that was one of the things that bothered me, when I was considering retirement, is what am I going to do now? What am I going to do? And so it keeps my mind going. I love being around our future leaders. I thought about the other day, my medical doctor, he was a student of mine from La Vega High School, and I've always lived by the theory, take care of them, and one day they may have to be taking care of you, and it's come to light right now with my medical doctor. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, one of the taglines, or the tagline that we use on a lot of our programming, are learners today, leaders tomorrow. And that's indeed what these students, especially the ones you deal with in high school, getting them ready for post-secondary education and careers, and you realize how important that is.
Sure. We're the college readiness, college awareness. Of course, not every kid wants to go to college. Not every kid. Some want to go to a vocational school. Some want to go into the workforce, but we want to do what we can to prepare them for whatever they go into. My wife teaches post-secondary education. She's a psychology instructor, and so I hear about what kind of kids we may be sending her, right. But it's important, and those kids need the opportunity that if they want to go to college, they're going to have the education to do so.
Well, talk more about your family. Your wife works at?
My wife works at TSTC. Okay. She's an instructor out there. Texas, TSTC.
Texas State Technical College.
That's right. We can cut that.
And you remember when it was TSTI.
TSTI, yeah, right. Really. And, I think that gives me a little bit of advantage growing up in Waco because there's some perceptions out there. Even when I was principal at La Vega, there were some perceptions out there about some of the schools, and if you're not involved in the schools, you really don't have a clue. TSTC has been one of those places that I've heard students say, well, that's where you go when you can't go to a real college. Mm-hmm. And I know that they have a 98% placement rate. Right. So a part of this educating these kids is to dispel some of these perceptions out there that some people see as truths, and we're going to celebrate our successes, and we're going to do away with a lot of that. And when I sat down at my desk in the office, it was cleaned out, but there was one coffee cup there, and I looked at it, and it had Waco High School on it, and when you turned it around, it said Pride of Waco. And I think that's what we're going to go with this journey with me. We're going to try to turn Waco High School into the Pride of Waco.
Very good. Now, you've been on Friday nights watching the Hubbard Jaggers 14 years, the La Vega Pirates for what, 6 years, I guess?
6 years this time,
This
a total
time.
of 11 years, yeah.
And now on Friday nights this fall, you're going to be out at the Waco ISD Stadium, I take it, watching the Waco High Lions.
Sure will, sure will. You know, I coached for 14 years, and it's still a part of me. And I was kidding Coach Herbst the other day. I said, you know, the new principal gets to call the first play every game. I don't think he went for that much, but yeah, I look forward to that. And I guess that part never leaves you. Right. And I think the stadium's beautiful. We've played some games over there before, and I look forward to that too.
Now, you're going to have a little challenge on the sideline if you go down there, because Dr. Kane, our superintendent, you'll see her on the sideline every Friday night, and I think she does call the plays.
Well, we're going to be at opposite ends. No, I get along with Dr. Kane well, but I do try to stay out of the way and just be observant.
Very good. Sam Sexton, welcome back to Waco ISD, and welcome to Waco High School as principal. This is Sam Sexton, your new principal at Waco High and at Waco High School. There are learners today, leaders tomorrow. This is Dale Caffey. See you next time for another edition of Know Your School.